My name is David Joyner, and today I'd like to talk to you about the Georgia Tech Online Masters of Science in Computer Science program, or OMSCS for short. The Georgia Tech Online Master of Science in Computer Science program began as a collaboration between Georgia Tech, Udacity, and AT&T. 2 years in, the program enrolls 3,400 students from every state and over 100 countries. The program currently offers 23 courses, with more on the way. The courses highlighted here in orange are the ones taught by the authors of this paper. While the principles I'll be discussing apply to the program as a whole, we've primarily developed them in the context of the classes taught by Ashok Goyal, Charles Isbell, and myself. Ashok and I teach knowledge-based artificial intelligence, I teach educational technology, and Charles teaches machine learning and reinforcement learning. Below this video, you'll actually find links to this course material for these 4 courses on Udacity. All 4 of them are free to the public, so we invite you to check them out. The goal of the OMSCS program was to create a master's program that combined the rigor and reputation of traditional programs with the accessibility and scalability of MOOCs. The OMSCS attempts to take the best of both worlds and develop an online master's degree that is accredited, rigorous, reputable, and affordable, scalable, and accessible. Because the OMSCS is more similar to a traditional master's degree than to MOOCs, let's start by thinking about a traditional master's degree and ask, how does the OMSCS program actually make a traditional master's degree more accessible? Well, it does it in at least 4 ways. One way is that it's highly flexible. The classes in the OMSCS program involve no synchronous activities. For many classes, class material is all provided at the very beginning of the semester, allowing students the freedom to plan ahead. What all that means is that students who already have jobs don't need to quit their job just to get this master's degree. The program is also highly affordable. Each class costs only $510 in tuition. That's an order of magnitude cheaper than many master's programs out there, and an 85% reduction in tuition compared to the on-campus master's program. That means that people who couldn't afford a traditional master's, or who couldn't afford to even attempt a traditional master's, can try out this program. A third major component is, of course, that the program is online. What that means is that students don't need to relocate to Atlanta for 2 years just to complete their master's degree. For people with families, that's critical. They can't just uproot their families for 2 years and then move again at the end of their master's degree. And finally, the program is very inclusive. On campus, one of our chief limiting factors is physical space. Online, there's no such physical barrier. What that means is almost 55% of students who apply to the OMSCS program are accepted. And that's because we can accept anyone who meets the minimum requirements, as opposed to only drawing the top 10% of applicants. The combination of these 4 features radically increases the program's accessibility to a variety of audiences, including full-time employees, parents with children that they can't move to Atlanta for 2 years, people with non-traditional backgrounds who probably wouldn't be in the top 10% of applicants in a given year, lifelong learners who really just love to learn but therefore can't spend $20,000 just to pursue what's a personal passion for them, international students who don't have the means or ability to relocate to Atlanta, and underprivileged students who might not be able to afford a traditional master's degree or might not be able to leave their current life situation. These initiatives in accessibility lead to a radical difference between OMSCS and residential students. But there remains a challenge. Many people point out that when we emphasize accessibility, it's often at the expense of pedagogy. How will students collaborate with each other? They're at a distance, they're not located together. How do they meet together? How do they work together on projects? How do we get students enough feedback? How will we hire enough instructors and graders to give students enough feedback? How do they communicate if they don't meet face-to-face? And can technology really replicate the class experience? So many things happen on campus when students and instructors are face-to-face. Won't we lose some of that online? What's been remarkable, though, is that our experience has pointed to the exact opposite relationship. The efforts that we took to make the program more accessible have actually improved the pedagogy of the program. Working as participant observers, we've noticed several places where the very things that we did to try and make the program more accessible to more people have improved the pedagogical experience in the program for everyone, including ourselves. As I noted before, part of that is that the accessibility leads to a unique student body in the program. That unique student body has been responsible for some of my favorite stories from the program. Teaching knowledge-based AI, we've had students in the class who've worked on IBM's Watson. Teaching educational technology, I've had high school computer science teachers or employees from prominent education companies. And in some cases, we've had physicians, scientists, and lots of other students from fascinatingly diverse backgrounds. But that unique student body is only half the equation. Putting the program online makes the program accessible, but it also gives the students more control and influence. We use many tools throughout the program, like Udacity and its interactive exercises, Piazza and its discussion forum, peer feedback for facilitating peer review, and a student-run Google Plus community for social communication amongst students. Combined, these are a set of tools that empower students to take control of their own education. And when you combine that empowerment with this unique student body, what you get are some really unique pedagogical benefits. Working as participant observers across 4 different classes, we have identified 8 specific pedagogical benefits visible in the OMS that we haven't seen in our residential classes. First, we see an incredible number of student-initiated discussions. In my educational technology class last semester, there were 500 student-initiated discussions in 17 weeks from only 100 students. Similarly, when the classroom is based around the forum, discussions can proceed in parallel. All the students aren't forced to participate in the same discussion at the same time. In that same educational technology class, we had 11,000 contributions from 100 students in 17 weeks. Needless to say, not everyone was reading every single post. You could never read that many. I couldn't even read that many. But that was because they were able to choose for themselves which discussions they wanted to participate in and where they wanted to spend their time. Part of the reason these discussions were able to thrive is because there is no time barrier to how long a discussion can go on. On campus, class ends at a certain time, and that's kind of the end of the discussion. Online, there is no such barrier. An inherent part of this is that discussions document themselves. These discussions are all happening on a forum, where every post lives for the duration of the class. This also helps with flexibility. Students who have full-time jobs who are working during the week can come to the discussion forum at the end of the week and see everything that was discussed the previous few days. And the presence of these very large student communities means that students can get feedback from other students very, very quickly. Most questions that are asked on the Piazza forums for our classes are answered within 30 minutes. That saves me time, but also builds a rich student community and encourages students to rely on each other instead of just the teaching team. Taken to an extreme, that's led to one of the most fascinating dynamics I've observed in these classes. They're what I call de facto teaching assistants. There are many students in the program that are so helpful to their classmates that if you were on the outside looking in, you would think that they were a teaching assistant. These students can be so helpful that I've heard other students in the program remark, "Wow, I never would have gotten through that class if it wasn't for her. Her helpfulness, her positivity, had a significant impact on my class experience." I mentioned previously that one of the tools we use in the program is peer feedback, which facilitates peer review. But what's incredible about peer review in the context of this program is that the peers are often themselves experts. The diverse professional experiences and the amazing level of expertise present in the program mean that peer review is an incredibly powerful tool. And finally, my favorite element of the program, honestly the reason why I still teach in the program, is the incredible level of organic student-instructor communication that I've experienced. Last semester, I signed on to the Forum for Educational Technology one day and discovered a new discussion that had reached over 50 posts before I was even aware of it. A student had proposed a discussion of Common Core, and as people talked about it, we got perspectives from parents, teachers, administrators, employees for educational technology companies, employees for textbook companies, all giving different perspectives, and I had nothing to do with that discussion. It just happened on its own. And I, as the instructor, was able to go in and respond to individual students in that discussion with my viewpoint in a way that was intimate because I'm responding to an individual, but is also public because everyone can see it. The empowerment that comes with that forum-based classroom leverages the collective experiences of everyone in the class. Now, of course, people will point out that much of what I just described were benefits to running portions of a class via a forum. That's not a new idea. So how are these benefits specific to the online environment? Well, part of it is this unique student body. These unique experiences, these unique people are in a unique situation to take advantage of those student empowering tools. But part of it is also the central nature of those tools in this online program. Yes, we can use forums in on-campus classes, but online, that forum becomes the classroom. It takes a central role in replicating that on-campus experience. But all these different features then have a significant effect in enhancing that experience. So I would strongly argue that when you combine this unique student body with these student empowering tools, that accessibility may enhance pedagogy in student-driven online classrooms. Teaching in this program has been an absolute joy. The structure of the medium really allows us to serve as facilitators more than instructors. I learn from the students every day, and it's already been fantastic to see the kinds of things our students have already achieved. I'm also fortunate today to be joined by a fantastic example of one of those students, Bobby Eicher. Bobby started as a student in the program, but she was the quintessential example of a de facto teaching assistant. She was so helpful that we really had no choice but to hire her. Now she's an award-winning TA, winning the College of Computing's Outstanding TA Award this year. So Bobby, do you want to say a little bit about your experience working as a teaching assistant in this program?
Sure. On our course forums, we're pretty much buried in messages all the time. When you have 200 students, you can have hundreds or thousands of posts a semester. And so with all of these questions flying, we can handle some of the things ourselves and feel more connected to the program and help our course staff to free up some time so that they can answer the questions that we just really can't get on our own.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're interested in hearing more about the OMSCS program, I invite you to check out some of the other research we published about it. If you're watching this video on edX, you can find that in the links below, or you can find it on my website. Thanks for watching.